After the solemn period of the high holy days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur comes the most joyous festival of the year. Zman Simchatenu, the time of our rejoicing, Chag HaSukkot, the festival of Sukkot. But there's something unusual about the name of this festival. Why do we identify it specifically with the mitzvah of sukkah, sitting in a sukkah, a flimsy hut that is a temporary structure? There is another major mitzvah of the festival, and that is the arba minim, the 4 species, or as we call it colloquially, the lulav and the etrog. This is a mitzvah that's done every single day of Sukkot. We take the 4 species, we make a blessing over them, we shake them in all of the different directions and up and down. We shake them when we say the Hallel prayer. Well, why isn't the festival called Chag HaLulav? Why specifically is it identified with the mitzvah of Sukkah? And there are a number of explanations and reasons for this. The first is perhaps a very technical one. The mitzvah of Sukkah applies all days of the festival. The Torah says for 7 days, everybody in Israel shall dwell in a sukkah. The mitzvah of lulav, however, actually doesn't apply every day of the festival. The Torah says, "Ulekachtem lachem bayom harishon," you shall take the lulav on the first day of Sukkot. It actually only applies on the first day. But then it seems to contradict itself when it says, "And you shall rejoice before Hashem with the lulav for 7 days." Well, is it the first day or 7 days? And the Talmud explains that everywhere in the world, the mitzvah is on the first day. But in Jerusalem, in the temple, it is 7 days long. And that's why we today, after the destruction of the temple, shake the lulav for all 7 days to remember what was done in the temple, although technically the mitzvah is only on the first day. And that would explain why it is that we associate the festival of Sukkot with the sukkah, because that is a mitzvah that applies from the Torah all days of the festival, whereas lulav only applies technically on the first day. However, I think that there is a much more profound reason for this. And this has to do with the very nature of the mitzvah of Sukkah. The Talmud tells us that for the 7 days of the festival, and in the diaspora for the 8 days of the festival, one must leave his home and venture into his sukkah. He must bring his finest cutlery and linen, and he should speak to his family there. He should learn there. It says, u'mitayel. He should even walk around in the sukkah. He should eat there, and he should drink there, and he should sleep there. All of the activities that you would normally do at home, you do in your sukkah. The sukkah becomes your home for those 7 days. Now, what's really uncanny about this mitzvah is that it takes mundane activities and turns them into a religious observance. So, for example, lying at home on your bed is not a mitzvah. Eating is not a mitzvah. Sleeping is not a mitzvah. Drinking is not a mitzvah. Walking around is not a mitzvah. But when you do those activities in the sukkah, it elevates them now to a different status. Now you are performing a mitzvah. You're not just eating, you're eating in a sukkah. You're not just sleeping, you're sleeping in a sukkah. We don't find this with any other mitzvah. When you're putting on tefillin, you're putting on tefillin. That's the mitzvah that you're doing. It doesn't elevate the other activities. If you eat while you're putting on tefillin, that act of eating doesn't become a religious observance, something spiritual. But when you eat in the sukkah, you are actually doing a religious performance. And that's the uniqueness of this mitzvah, that it's able to take even the mundane and to turn them into religious observances. But we don't have to just stop at the festival of Sukkot, although Sukkah is a very unique mitzvah. This is actually something we can do every single day of our lives. The Talmud tells us, and indeed in the Code of Jewish Law, there is a paragraph about this subject. It says to us that all of our intentions should be for the sake of heaven. Everything that we do should be for godly purposes. Not just the mitzvot, not just the ritual, not just when we're lighting Shabbat candles, or putting on tefillin, or shaking the lulav, or sitting in the sukkah, but even mundane activities like doing exercise can be elevated to a spiritual purpose. When you exercise, think in your mind, the reason why I'm exercising is so that I should be fit and healthy and strong to do mitzvot. The reason why I'm sitting down to eat this meal is so that I should have the right protein in my body, that I should be healthy and be able to fulfill mitzvot. The reason why I'm going for a nap is because if I don't sleep, I'm not going to be able to do my religious duties. And when you have that thought in mind and you direct all of your motivations for that intention, then everything that you do becomes an act of religious observance. So this is something that the Sukkah tells us. The festival is called Chag HaSukkot because it's an all-encompassing mitzvah. It's telling us that you as a Jew can elevate everything in your life to a service of God. I wish you all a Chag Sukkot Sameach, a very joyous festival of Sukkot.